Straight ahead on CCX News, music on the minds of the Maple Grove City Council. We'll have details of a big event planned later this year. Plus, for the love of the game.
Oh yeah, it can get competitive.
How a nonprofit helps adapted sports athletes keep playing. But first, back to work at the Minnesota State Capitol.
And it's our job to govern here together as Team Minnesota.
Hear from our local leaders plus top legislative priorities on CCX News starting right now. Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us. It's a brand new power structure at the Minnesota State Capitol. In fact, Minnesota is the only state in the nation with a divided legislature. DFLers are now in control of the House after picking up 18 seats in the last fall's election. They hold a 75 to 59 seat majority. The Republicans, meanwhile, currently hold a narrow 2-seat majority in the Senate. Delane Cleveland has more now on the new session.
The sound of a gavel marks the official start of the 2019 legislative session.
It becomes my duty as your Secretary of State to call the members of the Minnesota House of Representatives to order.
Yet whether it was your 6th year in office, like Democratic Representative Mike Freiberg of Golden Valley.
It's a lot of fun. It kind of reminds you what an honor it is to serve in this office.
Or your first day in office, like Republican Representative Kristen Robbins of Maple Grove.
You know, I'm really excited and humbled. Overwhelmed, you know, with the honor of serving in this position.
Clerk Pro Tempore will call the roll.
It's an occasion where members from both parties can enjoy the celebration and paint a positive picture of what lies ahead.
You know, we all went on a retreat and got to know each other this morning. You know, I walked in with a few of my Democrat freshman friends, and I feel like we developed good relationships and we'll work hard to work together.
Robbins says that's especially true for issues related to transportation and education, but there are issues where she won't budge.
In general, I'm a fiscal conservative, and with a $1.5 billion surplus, I don't believe we need tax increases, so I will be trying to hold the line on any effort to expand government or increase taxes.
For Representative Freiberg, this session marks a new era where his party controls both the House and the governor's office. But with the Senate still in Republican control, both sides will have to find common ground.
And the early signs, I would say, are positive. I mean, you know, I'm sure there will be points of disagreement. I'm sure they'll probably get heated at times. But at least at this time, Speaker Hortman, Senate Majority Leader Gazelka have indicated a willingness to work together.
Keel present.
The parties will have until May 20th to put together a nearly $50 billion 2-year budget that funds education, health care, and public safety. Exactly how they'll pay for all of it is the big question.
Amen.
One thing they do know is that the Northwest Metro has a number of representatives among House leadership in charge of making it happen.
You know, I'm really optimistic we will be able to work together.
Well, Mike Freiberg said some of the things to keep an eye on this session will be finding a dedicated source of revenue to pay for roads, bridges, and transit. And with the Affordable Care Act under threat at the federal level, he expects the state to step in to help protect people with pre-existing conditions and helping young people stay on their parents' insurance. Shannon?
All right, thank you, Delane. With DFLers in control of the House and Republicans in charge of the Senate, both parties will have to find common ground on key issues. Tops on the list is building a budget. State budget officials recently estimated that the state will have a $1.5 billion surplus. However, that could change, and lawmakers will get an updated forecast in February. Another issue is health care costs. DFLers are getting behind a plan to expand Minnesota Care to all Minnesotans. The state health care program is currently reserved for people with lower incomes. And education funding is another top issue. DFLers have pitched a plan for universal pre-K. Republicans say universal pre-K would destroy the private daycare system. There are also new faces representing local cities, including one that's making history in her district that includes Brooklyn Center. Meredith Hackler joins us now live at the Capitol with more. Hi, Meredith.
That's right, Shannon. Samantha Vang is representing District 40B of Brooklyn Center, and as we know, that's a very diverse area. She's the first minority woman to ever represent Brooklyn Center. Along with that, she's also born and raised in the area. She grew up in the Brooklyn Center, Brooklyn Park area, and she also went to high school there. Along with that, she is the daughter of Hmong refugee immigrants who came here for a better life. She says that she's honored to be a part of Minnesota history.
You know, it's history in the making, and it's also a time to celebrate. Oftentimes these communities have been here for more than 10 years, yet, they have not been really recognized or acknowledged as they should have been. And I think this election, this past election, and this moment in our Minnesota history is a time to show that we should celebrate these peoples, these communities, and that they matter to us too as well.
Being the first minority woman to represent her district, Vang also made history by helping create the Minnesota Asian Pacific Caucus. The caucus hopes to shed a light on communities that they believe didn't have a voice in the past. Another new state representative is Ginny Clevorn of Plymouth. She says she's excited to be a voice at the Capitol for the city of Plymouth and to work with other new suburban representatives.
Also, this year is exciting because we have several new suburban legislators, and we often hear much about great division. But the truth is the suburbs unite us. So I'm hoping to take that energy from the suburbs, bring it into the Capitol, and say, look, it's not you or them, it's us. And so let's work together to make good things happen.
Now, both of these representatives were sworn in here today at the Capitol at noon, and they told me there's two main issues that their constituents told them on the campaign trail that they're concerned about. That's healthcare and education. Those are going to be two focuses for both of these women moving forward. Live at the Capitol, Meredith Hackler, CCX News.
All right, thank you, Meredith. It looked like a routine swearing-in ceremony at Monday's Brooklyn Park City Council meeting, but this one made history. A packed crowd was on hand to watch Winfred Russell become the city's first Liberian council member. From humble beginnings in an African refugee camp, Russell won a scholarship to college and came to Minnesota. 6 years ago, Russell ran for city council but lost by 5 votes. Last November, he ran again, this time defeating incumbent Bob Maida. Russell was sworn in on a Bible that once belonged to his late father. Also newly sworn in was Tanya West Hafner, representing the Central District. Maple Grove has approved a contract with a concert promoter to hold a concert this year at Central Park. Plans are in the works to hold a concert September 14th at the city's prominent park venue. The city approved a $10,000 agreement with Sue McLean and Associates. That's the same company in charge of concerts at the Hildy Performance Center in Plymouth, which attracted acts like Soul Asylum and the Goo Goo Dolls. The total cost to hold the event is estimated to be nearly $200,000. The Maple Grove Lions and Minneapolis Northwest Tourism have each committed $15,000. For many military veterans, finding jobs when they come back to civilian life can be challenging. Today at Toyota Lift of Minnesota in Brooklyn Park, vets received free hands-on training on how to become forklift operators. About a half-dozen veterans showed up to receive the training. They practiced lifting and moving loads in the TLM warehouse so they could get a feel for the job. The company sees this as a way to salute people who have served our nation.
We really appreciate their service. We like to do something, give back to them in thanking them for everything they've done.
According to OSHA, anyone who wants to run a forklift needs to be fully trained and certified. Classroom training and actual driving are part of that process. Brooklyn Park is offering a way to help residents get to know police and better understand what they do. The Police Citizens Academy is a 10-week course that meets once a week in the spring and in the fall. The city has held it for the past 15 years. Residents learn about police response, such as the use of force, drug investigations, and much more. The department wants a diverse group of people to be part of the academy and encourage residents from all ages and cultures to participate.
This program really is a chance for us to grow relationships and partnerships within our community. You know, you get to know who the people are behind the badges at the police department. You get a chance to ask the hard questions, and we want you to ask those questions so that we can better our relationships and better our understanding of one another.
According to Brooklyn Park Police, there are usually about 20 people in each Citizens Academy. The spring session begins February 5th and it runs through April 9th. Still ahead on CCX News, competitive hockey for every age and ability. Plus, the Champlin Park Coon Rapids girls hockey team is playing well as they shoot for another conference title. But first, Tuesday was cold and windy, but temperatures should climb back up to the 30s by this weekend. Adapted Sports has a proud history in the northwest suburbs. Adapted Sports started organizing in Minnesota high schools in the 1970s and forming associations. Students could letter in the sport by 1976, but not all schools participated. It wasn't until 1992 that Adapted Sports were finally accepted into the Minnesota State High School League. But once Adapted Sports athletes leave high school, where can they play? It's a problem one group of athletes wanted to solve, and they came up with a nonprofit called We Love to Play.
A weekend afternoon is a great time for a hockey game.
Oh yeah, it can get competitive.
Jesse Klein is one of several athletes who drop in on games at Courage Kenny, organized by the nonprofit We Love to Play.
It's given a great way to stay in shape, meet new people, just have a lot of fun on a weekly basis as well.
Many of these athletes were part of Adapted Sports in high school. Jesse was a standout in just about all of them, as you can see from this story from 2008. Giving Adapted Sports athletes a consistent place to play after high school is one of the reasons why We Love to Play organized.
We put our thoughts together. We said, let's try this out. And as a matter of fact, today we're starting our 25th year.
Players have to be registered, but other than that, you just come play.
Primary thing is that you are physically disabled in some manner. And, we have people that come in with just, long-term knee injuries to those with severe cerebral palsy.
You'll see all ages and abilities here.
I love the game of hockey, first of all. I think this is a unique program. I don't see too many people with disabilities getting out on a Saturday and having fun like this.
Aside from connecting people with physical activity, it's a good social connection too.
Because he has autism, he kind of likes to do things by himself. So being on a team though has forced him out of that shell and learn how to work with other people and things. So that has been a real gift.
But players say don't count out the competition. Games get serious, which is all part of the fun.
When you come in here and you look at the nets, look at the players, your competitive spirit comes out.
Generally, there are no hard feelings once the game ends, so we usually have a good time.
The games are at Courage Kenny in Golden Valley, and you can find out a schedule and how to register on welovetoplay.org. Still ahead, how Robbinsdale could get more bragging rights when it comes to professional wrestling. But first, a former Park Center football star announces that he'll enter the NFL draft. John Jacobson has all the details up next.
After losing 2 games in a row in late December, the Champlin Park Coon Rapids girls hockey team is 3-0-1 in its last 4 games. And as Jason Melillo reports, the team is feeling pretty good about its chances the rest of the way.
The second half of the season in high school hockey goes fast as teams start to gear up for the playoffs. The Champlin Park Coon Rapids girls are excited about the progression of their team.
Kids are really starting to accept their roles of where they are and what they can do to help the team. And they're starting to kind of see how they can really help the team in those roles.
Line combinations have been tweaked throughout the season, and a few girls have come up from the JV squad. The aim is to find the right balance, and the Bluebirds seem to be getting there, especially when it comes to scoring goals.
We weren't finding a lot of goals in the beginning of the season, so we dispersed some people throughout the lines. I was one of them, and he wanted to separate kind of our goal scorers and make sure we had different people on different lines and kind of even it out, so we have opportunities on every line.
We definitely got some young girls that are looking really good, a lot of girls that are gaining positions and taking some of the bigger roles, and so they're helping out a lot and giving us what we need, and also giving the older kids a little boost, and kind of someone's on your tail and you got to keep working and pushing everybody to do better.
One position that's a constant for CPCR is goalie. Senior Bailey Shuck is a solid netminder, and the team will lean on her as the postseason approaches.
You can pressure harder, and if somebody beats you and gets around you, you know that you have a solid person at the end of the ice, and she's gonna stop it almost every time. So you're able to play more aggressively and not so on your heels.
Her confidence is just through the roof at this moment. She doesn't let things, maybe in the past there's once in a while she let a goal rattle her or something along those lines, or a play maybe to rattle her. Right now she's locked in.
Champlin Park Coon Rapids is in a tough section, but the girls are committed to getting better every day and confident they'll be at their best come playoff time. Jason Melillo, CCX Sports.
Champlin Park Coon Rapids is in first place in the West Division standings in the Northwest Suburban Conference. They host Totino Grace at Coon Rapids Ice Center Tuesday night. A former Park Center High School football standout has announced he'll enter the NFL draft. Number 27, Amani Hooker, who just completed a great junior season as a safety for the University of Iowa, has decided to forego his senior year to enter the draft. Hooker won the Tatum Woodson Award as the Big Ten Defensive Back of the Year this season. The Heritage Christian Academy girls basketball team made its first trip to the state tournament last season. On this week's Sports Jam show on CCX, we meet Eagles star guard Taylor Scott. Here's Jason Melillo again with a clip from that story.
It was more than 5.5 years ago, but Heritage Christian girls basketball coach Lori Krellen remembers vividly Taylor Scott's first game.
It was at St. Croix Prep. You know, I said, Taylor, you're starting. You know, she ran out of the huddle. You know, we had to tell her where to go, whose hands to shake, and it was pretty great because just the excitement.
And Scott hasn't sat down a whole lot since. She started every game over the last 5.5 seasons and developed into a steady leader for the Eagles.
I'm very aggressive, probably. Some people maybe don't like that, but I try to keep it up tempo. I love running transition. Easy buckets is the best, so I love doing that. In defense, offense sometimes like you're not always shooting great, but I always think defense is something that you can always control, and so I try to make that a big focus.
Her court vision is just so great. I mean, the game comes to her just so naturally. I think one of the things that I've seen her improvement on is just her decision making.
You can watch the rest of that story and much more on Sports Jam. It's on through Wednesday at 3:30, 6:30, and 9:30 p.m. on CCX1 and online at ccxmedia.org. Live girls basketball tonight, Tuesday on CCX as Armstrong hosts Park Center at 7 o'clock. Shannon, back to you.
All right, thanks, John. Up next, is Robbinsdale the capital of Minnesota wrestling? One online petition wants it to be. We'll share that story when we come back. And finally, someone has started an online petition to declare Robbinsdale the capital of professional wrestling, and it already has nearly 200 signatures. A wrestling fan started the petition on change.org after the death of legendary wrestling announcer Mean Gene Okerlund. Robbinsdale is already home to the Minnesota Wrestling Hall of Fame, housed at the Robbinsdale Historical Society building. And at the same location, you can check out an art exhibit in the Robin Gallery called Wrestling with the Arts, which is all about Robbinsdale wrestling. The exhibit runs through January 26th. And that's all the time we have for now. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you back here again on Wednesday starting at 4 o'clock.